GunGamers Podcast, episode 18. Special guest Mike Ochoa, formerly of Evike and Airsoft GI. I'm here with my co-hosts Eric and Kaylee. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing great.
Chilling like a villain.
Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Trying not to kill myself in quarantine.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Aren't we all, man?
So, starting off, we're talking about a couple of different topics we could possibly cover before we start up the podcast, and one of them that was a big hit was terrible customers, and why you shouldn't be a shitbag when you go into a fucking Airsoft retailer. Mike, let's hear your stories of your worst customers. Let's go.
My worst customer ever was I was working back at Airsoft GI, right? I was still in the store doing small things, nothing fancy or anything. I had a mom and a son walk in, and son has clearly never played Airsoft before. It's hilarious. And I'm not hilarious, but he's never played it before. He's asking all these questions like, I want to get this, I want to get this, I want to get this. I'm like, okay, kid, slow down. You've never stepped on a field. Like, you've never been shot before. Like, you want to get the number one. I'm like, okay, I get that. Good gun, sure. It's like, all right, so I pull one off the wall, hand it to him, and I was like, okay, carry that for the next 30, 45 minutes while we go walk around, grab all the other shit, right? So 15 minutes in, kid's already tired of it. He doesn't want to hold it anymore. I'm like, all right, cool. So I pull a G&G off the wall, hand that to him, like, oh yeah, this is a lot better. And his mom was like, well, he wants this one. Why don't we give him this one? And it's like, well, he can't hold it very long. He's tired after 15 minutes. What makes you think he's going to hold it all day? And she just goes off about how, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I should just give him the gun he wants. I'm like, look, bitch, I'm saving you like $250 and potentially his experience of doing this. So if you want to buy the fucking $400 gun, that's fine. I'll sell you the $400 gun. But don't come back in here a week later after he bitched out after 2 games and he doesn't want it anymore. So sure enough, she buys the Avalon. And sure enough, a week and a half fucking later, she comes back in like, I want my money back. This is bullshit. This is a stupid thing. He doesn't want to do this anymore. And it's like, okay, well, I told you. So I'm going to hit you with every single rule in the policy book. So restocking fee, you don't have the original packaging, scratch the shit. You're lucky I'm taking this back. Here's 50% of what you paid for it. You can leave my store. The door's right there. Bye, bitch. So that was probably my worst customer experience in person, at least. There's a million and one different ones I've handled over the phone when I was doing customer service, but that was by far the worst one in person.
Dude, Karens at the Airsoft stores are the worst.
Absolute worst.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. And it sounds like the lesson to be learned from that is that maybe you should rent a few times before you want to actually go play and before you drop $400+.
That was just the gun. They got accessories for it. They got gear. They got a BDU set. They dropped like $800, $900 that day. I was like, oh my God, you've never done this before. You're either gonna go all in or you're gonna shit out in 2 weeks. I already know it.
Dude, that's horrible.
Well, and that's the problem that people run into a lot, I think, is they go super full bore with buying stuff right off the bat, and they'll buy like the wrong stuff for what they're going for. I don't know. That's just my observation with a lot of people getting into Airsoft.
I've heard more than a few stories of guys going to like swap meets, and some kid shows up with like a 240, and the kid is like 13, and 115 pounds soaking wet, and they thought that they could fucking haul around a 240, and they're like, well, fuck, dude, this thing's super heavy. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with this. So I'll trade it to you for your like MP5 or something. Just like, sure, dude, I'll take that $450 LMG.
Damn, you need to become like an Airsoft personal shopper,
Yeah, well, that's why I bought my fucking M60.
That's what we need. I'm going to start that business.
Yeah, you bought your M60 because you had fuck you contractor money and nothing better to spend it on.
No, I bought it because the guy who was selling it at the amp swap meet couldn't hack it.
Oh, well.
So you thought you could?
I can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can you do that? I want pics of you running that M60.
Yeah, picture it didn't happen, dog.
Yeah, pics, coward.
I will make sure to find some.
This cheers is for Brian. I miss you too, Brian. Hopefully we see each other at Maelstrom, assuming everything goes well.
Eric,
Cheers.
Is that by chance whiskey that came from our gracious sponsor for this podcast, Jeff Smith?
It's actually not. I don't know if that package came, or if I don't know if that delivery came today or not, but I was actually not at my office for the latter half of the day, so I don't know if that package came just yet.
I got you. So, Mike, when it comes to working at a retailer, what are some things that people don't really see going on behind the scenes that you may have some insight into?
Things that go down behind the scenes, like probably returns, RMAs, stuff that companies send us to kind of market. Like I think one of the coolest experiences I had was when I was working at GI still. Nigel had come out for Airsoft Con, and he did this huge tour with Modern Airsoft too. And then one day just showed up at our building out of nowhere, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing here, dude? Like you got places to be, things to do. It's like, oh, we're here to market. Like we came by to see all the distributors. No one told me, even though I'm the marketing guy, but whatever. Nigel from Elite Force.
Oh, okay.
No, blessed Nigel.
Bless Nigel.
Apparently, they told the owner that he'd be coming by, but I didn't get the word about that. But that's something a marketing guy should know. But whatever, that's none of my business. So he showed up one day. We did a few videos for Elite Force, did some for GI, and then kind of like sucked off Elite Force for like the next 2 weeks because they gave us a bunch of discounts on product and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And then he gave me like 10,000 BBs. Like, here, you need some BBs for the weekend? I'm like, I guess, sure. It's like, okay, here. I'm like, all right, cool. It's awesome. Yeah, mainly like when a company makes a new release, like when Crytek came out with the limited edition vectors, they came by with those. That was pretty cool. Basically, anytime something new comes out, the retailers will see it like 2 or 3 weeks before any announcements are actually made. So you get to make a bunch of content, and they'll tell you like, hey, we're posting on this date. You're free to post on this date. I'm like, all right, cool. That was actually a really cool experience. Being that, before I got into the airsoft world, working at GI, I was actually a huge fan. I followed a lot of stuff, and I was excited for new releases. And then being able to see all that beforehand, before everyone else, that was actually a really cool experience.
I'm actually going to ask you a little bit about your history of like you're working at different retailers. Like, how'd you get into working in the airsoft industry and like working at the retailers? To be 100% honest with you, I just applied. Being in SoCal, I kind of get the luxury of having the biggest retailers within an hour of each other. When I first started in 2015, I started applying. I applied to GI, to Evike, to AEX, and then some smaller mom and pop shops around the area. And then the first person to call me back was GI. So I just interviewed. They brought me on, and I just kind of stuck there for a few years. And then some things went south. I had an opportunity to get a job at Evike, and I took it. So that's kind of how I ended up there. But it's just being local, and then being a regular at the shop, knowing the guys who worked in the store, building a good relationship with the manager in Chime. Shout out to Vince Kim. He's over at Project N1 right now. He's a Big Daddy Kim, General Kim. I don't know if any of you guys watch any of the old Baby War stuff. I actually never followed the GI BB Wars series, which is terrible. I followed GI's YouTube channel back when it was Tim and Bob doing most of the product reviews, but even then I would mainly watch the stuff that I was kind of loosely interested in, or some of the new stuff. I actually didn't follow their BB Wars series, so I've heard the games were pretty great for that.
Honestly, looking back on it now, it was honestly just glorified walk-ons, but the objectives...
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, yeah. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but the objectives that they threw in there were honestly really good objective-based gameplay. Like the last BB Wars that happened on the West Coast was Airsoftology Origins. And Kaylee, I don't know if you know about the abandoned water park off the 15 on the way to Vegas.
Yeah, I am sort of familiar with it.
Yeah, they hosted it there, and they had General News people actually run it, and that was a really dope event. That was the first time I ran my KPO2, and it was just a blast. That was right before I started working at GI, and the entire time I was there, my biggest goal was trying to get another BB Wars on the West Coast, but it just fell through the holes, And with COVID going on, I doubt anything's going to come at this time. I'm still friends with a lot of people that still work there.
Yeah, so if you're comfortable, what compare and contrast, because you've worked at both GI and Evike, from your perspective, what were the differences between the two companies?
As far as operations and systems go, they're actually very similar. I think they even had the same company put together their back-end website. So the actual system itself looked very similar to each other. When it comes to policy, they're fairly similar. Evike is a little more black and white when it comes to actual policy and enforcement of the policy. GI, did notice they are a little more willing to work with people, but it's always a case-to-case basis. But Evike, they're a much bigger company, so they're able to handle much higher volume. And you hear about a lot more issues, but that's because they're shipping out a lot more stuff. Like with GI, I'd say they're averaging, when I was there, maybe 500-600 packages a day, which is a good amount for a 10-man crew. But
yeah, that's actually fucking huge.
Yeah, but with Evike though, I think even now they're still running a 10-man crew and they're still managing to pump out 1,000 to 1,500 orders a day during
holy
COVID.
Shit. Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah,
because I've worked in a shipping department, and if we got like 50 to 100 orders in a day, granted it's like a 1 or 2 man crew depending on the day. If we got 50 to 100 orders, that was pretty big. You guys are pumping out 1,000. Holy shit.
Yeah, 1,000 to 1,500 like during these times. When everything's clear and running, there's anywhere between 4,000 to 5,000 shipments a day.
Jesus
So
and then
Christ.
plus I'm guessing,
That's insane.
with a lot of small, not major businesses like that, I'm guessing like the shipping people even wore hats of doing like inventory and returns and stuff too. So that's probably.
Yeah. Another thing too, Evike actually has a legitimate division of departments. Like when I was working at GI, it was a lot of, go talk to this person who kind of does shipping, receiving, and this and that. While with Evike, you have like divisive teams. Like, hey, if you need something from the storefront, go talk to this person. Go talk to the manager, the assistant manager directly. Don't talk to anyone else because they got their own jobs to do. Like, it's very structured compared to GI, where it's kind of like more mom and pop. Like, it's funny saying that now because back in like 2008 to 2012, when I was really getting into airsoft, those were the two big giants in the world, or when it comes to airsoft. But like after getting the opportunity to work at it, it's very night and day who the top retailer is right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and I think GI, unfortunately, I'm not gonna I don't want to shit on GI because I actually like them, but in terms of market dominance, like Evike just got a lot more distribution deals with a lot better brands.
Yeah.
I mean, go for it, Ian.
I was gonna say that Evike, nothing against GI, but they've had the same website for the last decade, and I remember them saying something about actually updating their website to be a little bit more user friendly, but I haven't seen that change in years. So I think that with Evike just having a more user friendly website, that has definitely helped their market dominance as well.
Yeah, so the GI website actually did receive an update when I was working there.
Okay.
It was very, very minor, not much had changed. They were still using the same search engine. It was still similar category, similar layout. I feel like it was it looked a little bit better, but it was still operated the exact same way. It didn't help search functionality or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Evike search isn't always the best, but it is definitely
No,
better
well,
than I think
and when
other websites.
My number one pet peeve on the Evike website, if anyone from Evike's fucking website department is watching this, when I put price low to high on the Evike website, I expect the items to be sorted based on how much they cost from low to high. I don't care if it's a pre-order item. If it's $300, it shouldn't be before an item that's $100.
Yeah, that's them trying to push pre-orders first. Being that pre-orders are the easiest way to make money for any retailer, not just Airsoft.
That's why the video game industry does it too.
Yeah, exactly. Because video games, when it comes to GameStop, they don't actually pay for product until it gets to their door. So when you're collecting $5 on something you don't even own yet, it's $5 you can immediately use. And some people just come in and pay the whole damn thing off. So even then, with profit margins, when it comes to airsoft stuff, profit margins suck. I'm telling you guys right now.
Oh yeah. No, I actually know the profit margins are terrible because I know a lot of people who work at stores and they always tell me, "Oh, fuck the profit margins. These are awful."
Exactly. So when people think "Oh, let me sell you this $350 Crytek, I'm making $350." No. They're making maybe $80 to $100 per unit, and that's on the wholesale side. So it's
that's just the cost of what they bought it for versus what they're selling it to you for. That's not considering the time that they had to spend getting it in, receiving it, putting it in inventory, and then writing the order, sending it out. Like everything has a cost associated with it. So you're probably that 80 to $100 profit margins from straight, we bought it for this much, just sold it for this much, probably turns into $30 to $40 by the time you really look at the man-hour cost of the number of times someone had to handle that thing or do something with it.
That's also assuming it works the first time you get it. If you get a gun that's DOA, both companies will provide you a return shipping label to get it back here, and somebody has to pay for that. Like $15-20, boom, you got a $20 margin, and then they got to pay to ship it back to you. So if you get a done on arrival gun that only has an $80 margin, they don't make anything on that. So keep that in mind the next time you call in complaining about your gun not working.
Keep your crappy gun.
Basically,
continue.
No, that's basically it. So there's even some companies like, I won't disclose any brands or anything like that, but they've had such a bad failure rate that they've been dropped from the website because they started costing the company money due to the amount of times that they had to ship it to the customer, ship it, back and forth, have a tech look at it and all that.
I can name drop because I'm in a totally different industry and they'll never see this. But I actually, at the company I work at, we've dropped several brands because we were losing money servicing them because they kept on dying and they kept on being shitty. We dropped Husqvarna and we dropped Mahindra. Those are turf equipment brands. You can look those up if you want. There's a reason my company doesn't carry them anymore. No, I won't name my company.
I know where you work, Eric.
Yeah, you know where I work. You can dox me, but you won't.
No, I won't. I'm a good guy.
Yeah, that's probably one of the things that people don't realize is that airsoft companies, like they might move a lot of product, but at the end of the day, the profit margin just isn't that high. So seeing how big of a company that Evike has built and why they run their system the way they run it, it's very impressive, the profit margin they work for.
I am going to name a brand so Evike Matt said this on an Instagram story on the Evike Instagram account. So I could say this. Lancer Tactical is not carried on the Evike website because, and I quote from Evike Matt, they're not very good. So I'm assuming that's one of those brands that cost them more money to carry than they were making.
Yes. So back when the Gen 1s were a thing and Lancer Tacticals were $100, they're the shittiest ABS plastic you can possibly make a gun out of, and they just fell apart after 2-3 mags. They were discontinued on the Evike website, and they just refused to buy them outright. So Lancer comes out with the Gen 2s. They get a few test models in, they test them out, and like, okay, serious improvements have been made here, and they attempted to reopen their account with Lancer. Lancer, who is also known as Airsoft Megastore, also known as Dongying Imports. That is all public information. This is not breaching NDA. Don't sue me. But they attempted to get more models in, and they didn't get any response whatsoever. So Lancer has made the decision now to no longer work with Evike. So if you're wondering why Lancer products aren't available on Evike's website, they're no longer available now.
No, you gotta go to Airsoft Megastore, the glorious
Jeff
company
Smith.
that it is.
It is glorious, and I don't care what anybody says. Get out of here.
So Jeff Smith says, how about rumors of Evike getting sole distro rights to certain brands like Crytek? Well, that's not a rumor. Evike and Crytek both came out and said Evike is the North American distributor for Crytek. Like that's not a rumor. There are press releases on this.
U.S. distributor, not North American.
Right. U.S. distributor. I'm sorry. But yeah, and the reason for that, based on what I understand from talking to people at Evike and Crytek, is that means that Crytek no longer has to handle distribution in-house. They could shuffle it off to the biggest retailer in the United States, who most other retailers buy from for wholesale, and then Evike signed the agreement, according to everyone I've heard talk about it, signed the agreement that the wholesale pricing from Evike is the same as it was from Crytek. Yep. So now Crytek just gets to outsource their distribution, and Evike gets to obviously have the distribution rights for Crytek, which is a big boon for them. But honestly, I think having that distribution network of Evike's dealers was a boon for Crytek too.
No, yeah, definitely. Because when that deal happened, I was still working at GI at the time, and we got a lot of comments on that because Tim was their marketing guy, and a lot of people try to spin it as it's a stab in GI's back. And it's like, that's not really the case. Like, we're not mad at Tim for it. Like, he works for different companies doing business as business. Like, Airsoft GI orders from Evike, just like most other retailers do. and it's business. Like, as long as the main thing that we cared about, our shipment's still going to come in on time. Is the price going to go up, stay the same, maybe go down, who knows, or all that other stuff. So the perks of that is that it was much more readily available because the Crytek warehouse, when it was still a part of Chris USA directly, was tiny. Like it was smaller than a lot of stores.
Well, and
so
I love Crytek, and this is also public record, but Chris Group USA does not do well financially aside from Crytek. That is a matter of public record. There are a lot of articles on this. Chris Group USA outside of Crytek is not very profitable. So they probably don't have a lot of money to reinvest into major distribution of Crytek. So the more that Crytek can outsource probably makes sense.
Yeah, like I'd seen their warehouse. It was not that big at all. Like it was smaller than a lot of like actual mom and pop airsoft stores, and trying to ship out a very popular and very well received airsoft gun from a tiny distribution center like that just wasn't going to happen. So it ramped up production. So people on the production side got more money. People in the airsoft world in the U.S. were able to get more Cryteks, and overall, I think the prices actually eventually dropped on the wholesale side because they were just able to get so much more into the country.
Yeah, and Jeff Smith is asking, is Karen going to pay a $30 premium to get from a small store or get online with free shipping? Well, with the particular case of Crytek, in that case, the distributor signed an agreement with the OEM that the wholesale price was to remain the same, and thus everyone was operating on the same level with minimum advertised pricing. So in that case, it doesn't matter. If you buy it from Evike, you're getting it from the same price for a Crytek at least as you're buying from your mom and pop, assuming they're not upcharging over MAP. But the problem that you run into is brands that don't have MAP, and then obviously things get messier from there.
Yeah, and the thing I have noticed since I've started working, a lot more companies are starting to come out with MAP pricing for that exact reason. Yeah. Is that you got these mom and pop shops that, you get an unmapped item. Why would you go to there when you can go
If you think about it, MAP stands for both minimum advertised price and mom and pop. So
Exactly. But they basically put it in there to prevent mom and pop stores from being outpriced by bigger chain stores like Evike and GI. Because they have the volume, they can afford to take the hit, as opposed to a mom and pop who maybe sees 50 orders in a week. Like they're barely scraping by. But you can't blame Crytek for it. You can't blame G&G. You can't blame KWA because they're all MAP protected. Yeah. And the only time you see that go down, I think they're offered to discount like 3 or 4 times a year, and that's at the company's discretion. So if you want to have them on sale for like all at one time in the year, you absolutely could. But the rest of the year, it's going to be normal pricing. You're going to get destroyed when it comes like Christmas season, summer, whenever they do the big sales and stuff.
Yeah. It's a tough industry, though, the airsoft industry. It kind of sucks ass.
It definitely does.
Like, I'm kind of the opinion that in the era of the mega retailers, there's kind of no way for a mom and pop to survive unless they're directly affiliated with a local field.
Yep. Kind of like Code Red store. They have their own store, whatever, up in the just a little bit more north of the field, and I don't know if those things would survive independently of each other.
Oh yeah, I mean, we were going to, what was that, GZA that has its own store, Eric, and then
Yep, in Connecticut.
Yeah, it's like a couple miles away from the field, and I mean GZA as a whole as a field, it will survive without its store, but
GZA is just a fucking amazing field. I'm just gonna take the opportunity to plug Ground Zero Airsoft in Connecticut. If you're in the Northeast, you've never been to Ground Zero Airsoft in Connecticut, you should go. I'm not affiliated with them in any way other than that I say hi to Jolly every time I go. They're just a great field.
Oh yeah, but the thing I was gonna say was the fact that I don't think that store specifically would survive, especially because there's other stores in the area that are really really good. Without there
is another really good store right by Joe up in Connecticut that is really cool. But even then, they have a big community in Connecticut as a direct result of GZA, and there's another field in Connecticut that I'm forgetting about, and I feel so bad. Maybe it's Tactical Airsoft or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, even I've heard of GZA, and I've never been to Connecticut before. I've heard of it.
Yeah, dude, they get hundreds of players at their big games every month. What local field does that besides Ballahack?
Yeah.
Down in California, what do you think? Do you think Wildlands can match 100 players in a given weekend, Bailey?
Yeah, 100. Like, what you mean, like on the whole weekend, 100 players?
No, like on a single day, like on a single Saturday.
Yeah, it's happened before. I think like at certain events and stuff, they've had a good amount of people. Mark says easy. Uh, but yeah, I think they pull in a pretty good crowd. I think Code Red does too. Hollywood Sports Park can be a little I think, but they have their paintball side, so that helps, but the airsoft side can suffer a little bit on some days. Like, dude, I've been there all during the week and there's like 4 or 5 people there. It's pretty sad.
Running the same 52 games that, yeah, I've been at HSP during the week. It's not that fun.
Yeah, like you're basically playing like a private game at that point. And
that's pretty surprising considering the fact that that's in like what, the greater LA metro area, and you've got millions of people to draw from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was actually going to mention
it's in Long Beach sort of, so it's a little bit outside, but yeah, I guess like it's pretty close to most people. That's why there's a lot of kids who go there, like, after school and stuff. Like same like with Tax City, I think it's kind of central to a lot of people, so they go and play. But both those fields still very small groups of players.
Eric, you had something?
Oh, I was gonna say I feel bad because Brain Exploder had to bring up River City Airsoft in the comments of the chat, and I was gonna mention River City as an example of a field that has a store and they support each other, and because they're directly owned by the same people. But for some reason, I totally spaced on it. But yeah, River City Airsoft in Hamlin, New York, they're a good field too. They're really good. That's Amy's field, Amy's family's field. So go check them out if you're in the area.
Good field, good store, good people.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But yeah, any other crazy shit that you've had to deal with while you've been working for either Evike or Airsoft GI there, Mike?
Trying to think what other crazy stuff. I mean, I've been.
What's your favorite moment? Let's ask that question.
Favorite moment. Okay, so my hands down favorite moment working at GI. I actually, when I was doing the marketing, Cisco and I filmed a "Don't Be That Guy" video, and it blew up. Like that was the most fun I had filming a video, and you can kind of like see it in our expression. Like we had a really good time filming that video. Like I think one of them was like, don't be that guy that breaks MED. Don't be that guy that that pulls your mask up. Don't be that guy that calls other people's hits. It was a good old time.
All the airsofters we love to hate.
Exactly. that was a grand old time. I loved filming that video.
I like making content with the GI people. That was like one of my favorite times, is going out with them at SC Village and making some videos with Mark. That was a fun time. So yeah, definitely like content with them is cool.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time. And honestly, like filming comedy and shitposty videos is my favorite thing. I mean, act surprised I'm saying that, but
I want to know what people try to return all the time at airsoft stores.
Ooh.
It's honestly a huge range of things. Like when it comes to, like, I think it's even on the policy now for both GI and Evike that they will not take back beads and game gas because they've been used. Like it's just a liability thing. Like we're not taking it back. Sales final, period. Unless it's sealed, like you're not getting your money back. Deal with it. I don't really want to go into that too much because like I don't want to piss off any major brands. But there's a pretty potent beginner to intermediate brand I got hot in the last like year and a half, 2 years. I'm not gonna say the name, but if you can figure it out, good for you. They have like a 25% failure rate and both companies are on the verge of dropping them. But
I think I know what company this is.
Yeah, it's
is it one that Reddit always says is the best?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not on Reddit, so I really don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember there was a certain member of the GunGamers Discord that would defend them profusely, and he's been booted from the Discord because he said his MSK shot 120 meters at one point.
Oh my god!
But
can we not live meme this?
Dude, I will graciously live meme this. Oh man.
Discord only talk or?
I don't know. I don't want to bring too many Discord memes into the chat. I don't want everyone to feel isolated. Mongo376 asks, Eric, you still coming to Ohio Sector 7 next month? So I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast, but there's a game next month called Maelstrom. It's the last weekend in June, the last Saturday. It's being run by the Halcyon Tactical guys in Ohio at Sector 7. And I'm paying very close attention to the situation in both my home state of New York and Ohio. My hope is that things continue to go the way they're going, because if things continue to go the way they're going, I'm absolutely going to that game because, A, I committed to it late last year that I was going to lead one of the teams there, and B, I really need to fucking play Airsoft. So if things keep going the way they're going, I am 100% on track to be at that game. I will be leading the green team. If things takes a crazy sudden turn for the worse, then obviously I will not be going. But based on everything I'm seeing right now, I should be at that game.
Hell yeah. I might just go out there with you.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
If you want to see Eric from GunGamers, then you guys should make it out to Sector 7 in Ohio for the, what was it, Operation Maelstrom event?
What part of Ohio is that? Is that like close to
it's in Lorraine. Where the fuck is it at? I don't know Ohio at all. Like, I'm a terrible person. I don't know Ohio. It all blends together. It's Ohio.
You're just going to show up there at one point. You won't know how you got there. Only the alcohol will guide you.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, like, I got a few...
My brother just burst in wearing his Judygonia shirt. I had to give him a thumbs up.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, wait. Well, let's get that Judygonia on the screen there. Bring him back in. Ooh.
If you missed it, you missed it. It's gone. But there's a new one, I hear, Ian.
Yeah, there is a new piece of merch
that
out recently. So for anybody there who is, okay, never mind. Spotify just opened randomly. I did a little design, some Judy-themed merch on the Cleared Hot website. Let me just pull this up real quick for the people. For those of you who are a fan of a website that has various adult content on it with a black and orange logo, we have just the design for you. I'm going to drop it in chat right now, and you guys can go ahead and figure out if you want it or not. But it is glorious. What was that?
YouTube. I want to see that. I'm going to pull this up real quick.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then Harshays says, since we're talking about events, y'all still going to Desolation? Yes, I am still going to Desolation. The Omega Productions crew are great personal friends of mine, and the day I miss one of their events for any reason that is under my control is, I don't know, it will never happen. If I can make it physically, I'm going to an Omega game.
Yo, Ian, I might have to get me one of those hoodies.
Oh, hell yeah, man. So the actual design itself is based off the Pornhub logo, and we've got 4 different designs, both in the vertical and horizontal format, as Praise Judy and Judy Hub. That's probably going to be up until the 5th of June when we have the next podcast. There's no guarantee that Spreadshirt's going to even allow them to be produced, so take a chance.
See what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Another one of those limited drops, and 100% of that money goes to Ian for whatever he uses it for.
Yeah, it's probably going to go back into the stream somehow. Buy more equipment for the fucking podcast.
Fair enough.
Oh, for sure.
Either that, or I'm going to use it to buy a CGS.
Yeah, exactly. That's really what's going to happen.
I feel like this is a fair trade. You know, you run the podcast on my channel, and in return, you plug your merch and make probably more money on merch than I make in ad revenue.
Oh, hell yeah, dog.
That and you give me beer for it, so that's pretty cool.
I feel so sorry for you with the ad revenue. Oh my God, like GI ain't making jack shit off their ad revenue. Like, I can't say the exact number, but it ain't much. And when I was there, it was 399,800 followers.
Yep.
And I was doing everything in my power to get to 400,000. It just didn't happen. I don't know what the algorithm was going on with
fuck.
whatever it might have been. I could not get over that hump, but they got it, like, I think earlier, like late last year, early this year, they got it. But when I was checking those ad revenue numbers, it was basically nothing.
Dude, like, YouTube ad revenue is like, everyone thinks you can make a job out of Airsoft YouTube. You have to get exceptionally lucky and be exceptionally high quality to really do it. And you have to be both of those things.
Yeah. I mean, there's very few people who have actively been able to make it their job. Like, obviously, Jet and Leah, who we're good friends with, and then you've got Alphonse as well, and then Dutch made it with his content. But like, again, these are people.
Airsoftology, it's his full-time job.
Airsoftology as well. There's a number of other people, but it's
but a lot of those people like also monetize through other ways too than YouTube. Yep. Like Jet and Leah have Desert Fox events.
Yep.
Navrich has his gun line.
Yeah, Navrich has the gun line. Dutch has been very open, I think, about the fact that he does like sponsored videos.
Yeah.
Alphonse, I think Alphonse is one of the only ones who really leans on ad revenue.
He gets paid. He gets paid with memes. That's how he does it.
Yeah. I think he. I don't know if he is actually 100% on ad revenue, but I'll let him answer that. I'm not going to try to.
I don't want to out whatever his strategy is if he hasn't talked about it publicly, but like I think he's mostly ad revenue. I don't know. CPS, who I keep like having to stop myself from saying his real name. CPS says you need more tactical wizards to increase your following. I do need more tactical wizards. I actually have an idea for one. I'm gonna film with Alphonse, assuming all things go well.
MG comes up every podcast.
Oh, it's 100% gonna be machine gun related, but it's gonna be the tactical wizards douchebag guide to machine guns. And it's basically just gonna be him saying everything counter to what Alphonse does. So it's gonna be great. Exactly. I'm just going to put on a plaid shirt, not tell Alphonse we're filming, and just troll him the whole time.
That'll be good.
Oh, I'm excited for that, Eric. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, should be a good time. But
yes, it will.
But yeah, speaking of content creation, though, you did handle for marketing. You did handle marketing at GI, correct?
I did everything marketing related, everything except for actually editing videos. I did everything else though. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. There was even Snapchat for a little bit, but I dropped it because nobody watched the story. So I said, fuck it, I'm not going to waste my time with this. But it was basically everything. And then even like filming from time to time, I had to film myself on camera. That was really hard to do because it's like you don't have anyone behind the camera. So it's like you got to say something, pause for like a few seconds, and then go turn the camera off. That was really a pain in the ass, to be honest.
Yeah, making content by yourself kind of sucks. That's why I try to do it as little as possible.
No, yeah, like the first 2 weeks of doing it, it was hot. And then after that, it's kind of like, okay, post, like, go buy this or follow whatever meme is trending right now. And it was kind of just that back and forth because, it's a pain in the ass trying to create content, trying to make it, like I give mad props to all the YouTubers that are making money off of it. Like Jet, he's been doing it for like 10 years now, right?
Yeah, he's been kicking
something like that. He's been at it for a long time.
Yeah, he's still going strong. Like even you've been doing this YouTube game for how many years now?
We started in July of 2015. We don't make shit for money off of it, but as a hobby channel, I feel like we do pretty well.
Yeah,
I would say we're one of the bigger like hobby channels, like the ones that don't make this a full-time thing that we're really banking on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best
like
podcast,
my philosophy when I was doing GI's YouTube page was trying to branch off from the typical stuff, and they kind of took that idea and ran with it. They're doing really good with it now, but like kind of steering away from like, oh, look at this gameplay, look at this review, look at this like this new product coming out, whatever it might be. And I wanted to do more of like a top 5 or like there's some guns in movies or like who's this dude in Airsoft or whatever it might be. And now they're running away with it with like the roast my build and I think they got one more series going. I forget what it is, but they're doing really good now with it. And I kind of like how they're taking that in a different direction. So it's not like the traditional retailer that's like, obviously they're going to tell you to buy it because they sell it, but it's more like, hey, look at media, look at how you can recreate this. And that's kind of what got me into it. I figured that might be a good idea to try to bring more people in.
Yeah. And that's the thing that GI has always leaned on. I think GI was ahead of, and granted, in the long term, obviously Evike ended up being way bigger, but I think GI was way ahead of the curve on the quality and consistency of their YouTube content as a marketing tool.
I 100% agree with you. Like Tim was specifically hired for marketing. Like at the time, the only YouTube stuff you'd see when it came to Airsoft retailers was a general breakdown on how to do small fix-its, like how to install your battery, how to install a handguard, stupid small stuff like that. And then maybe a general like, hey, look at this new gun, look at this pretty girl, shoot it, and then, go buy it. But when Tim came on board, he kind of added like a personality to it. He was I feel like he was the pioneer of the Airsoft personality. And then when Bob came on, they just complimented each other so well. And they worked together for like 3 or 4 years before Tim left to Crytek. But that's still something that gets commented on the GI channel to this day, like what happened to Bob and Tim. And it's like, dude, where have you been for the last like 5-6 years? But yeah, they definitely pioneered the Airsoft personality, in my opinion. Like I know Jet was still doing stuff at that time, but his channel didn't really take off yet. And then Level Up was around too.
I love Jet in so many ways, like as a person and as someone I would count as like a decent friend. But I think even he would agree that Tim pioneered the way he added so much personality into his videos and the way that it was personality driven. I think that Tim was excellent at that, and Tim was a big inspiration for like the way we did GunGamers, having someone in front of the camera doing the review, like trying to insert their personality into it, talk about their preferences and all that. And it was, I think my favorite moment with Tim was the absolutely bizarro world moment. It was at SHOT Show 2017 when I'm at the Crytek party at SHOT Show, drunk off my ass.
As you are at every party.
And the Crytek
party
is at Machine Guns Vegas, and they closed the bar for the night at Machine Guns Vegas, but like they weren't. So Crytek had the place rented out for longer, but the bar was closed. And Tim brings in a case of Corona and just hands me Ronas as I'm hammered. I was like, here I am with this man who was absolutely one of my greatest inspirations, handing me Coronas as like, oh, you're going to say nice things about Crytek, right? And I'm like, you fucking bet your ass I am. It was great. And I loved Tim. He's a good dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a really good dude.
Now, in terms of, but did you work at all with the marketing department at Evike?
I did not. I had like 1 or 2 brainstorming sessions with George, but it was never anything more than that. It was like, hey man, I kind of have this idea for this thing. What do you think about it? Like, that sounds pretty cool. Just kind of chit chatting on our lunch or something like that. But it was never any like hands-on anything like that. Like when random guy Kev came by to visit, when he did his tour of California, I went down. I was the first one to greet him.
Kev.
He was there. I took a quick break to go say hi, and kind of we chatted up a little bit, and then like told Matt and George they were there, and then they went and filmed and stuff like that. And then George had asked me like, "Hey, do you want to come over to marketing? You want to get in front of the camera again?" I'm like, "No, fuck no."
You don't like being in front of the camera?
It's not that. When I first got on, it was like, okay, this is cool. Like I always watch the people on the GI channel. Now I have the chance to do it. But then I quickly realized why people started to hate it so quickly. And it's, I'm an actual airsofter. Like I actually like to go out and play. And
what? No way. Yeah. No one likes to play airsoft.
Nah, only there for picks, pretty much.
About a month in, and every time I went out to play, like, hey, you're the guy from GI. You're the guy from GI. You're the guy from GI. Like, hey, can you check my order? Can you help me out with my gun? This, now.
Oh, yeah. That's the nice part I don't have to deal with is I don't get anyone to ask about fucking orders. Exactly.
Like, dude, I'm just here to shoot people. Like, call on Monday. They'll take care of you. Like, leave me the fuck alone. And that went the entire time I was in front of the camera working for GI. And then I never announced I was leaving on the channel. So I just stopped showing up on videos one day. And someone asked me, like, hey, are you still at GI? And I'm like, nope, sorry, don't work there anymore. I was like, can't help you. Sorry. And I kept quiet about where I went. And eventually, like, people talked, and it's like, oh, yeah, he works at Evike now. And then now I have all these people asking me about my fucking Evike shit. And I was like, dude, don't ask me about work shit when I'm out here playing. Like, I paid to be here just like you. Like, let me play. Let me shoot you in the face a couple times so I can forget about this.
Yeah. Well, not to out anyone, but when I was at American Milsim Faded Giant 5 in 2016, I remember Matt from Evike signed up, like, didn't wear any Evike shit, didn't wear any name tags that he was from Evike, wore a full face covering the whole fucking weekend, and just went and fucked off and played with Robo so that he could go not be bothered by all these people who wanted to like swarm him. Which I totally get, by the way. Like I'm not saying, oh, Matt's too good for his audience. Like, imagine you paid to go to this game and you have people swarming you all weekend about totally unrelated shit. Like, you just want to play the game.
Imagine you just tore your meniscus while you're playing BB Wars, and some random is coming up to you and constantly pestering you for a patch while you're in immense pain. And then you have to rip it off your good buddy's glorious G-Gar, by the way, if you want a G-Gar, Engage Tactical. And you had to hand it to this kid, and your buddy still hasn't gotten his patch yet, Eric.
Yeah, imagine being in that position.
Yeah, like that was probably like, that was the main reason I didn't play Copperhead. Like the first time I ever went to Copperhead, I went with a group of friends. I paid for my own ticket. Bo did not hook me up at all. And like, go out there. I have the CEO of GI hitting me up like, hey, you're at Copperhead, get some content, bring some back. I'm like, motherfucker, you didn't pay me to go to this event. You didn't pay for my ticket. You didn't pay for my gas to come out here. You didn't give me jack shit to come to this event. Why the fuck am I going to get content for you? So I literally like, they're like, fine, I'll go, I'll get you content, whatever the fuck. So I took the camera from GI. I filmed my own fucking video and I didn't get jack shit for him. And then,
I'm sorry, finish your story, then I'll read the super chat.
One of the dudes recognized me who used to live in LA and he moved to Phoenix and he was a regular at the store when I was still working in the store. And he told his entire team like, oh yeah, that's the dude from GI. And I had this entire team bothering me like the day before. And I was like, you know what? I don't even want to fucking play anymore. I just want to go the fuck home. And all my friends were like, dude, you just drove all this way. You paid for a ticket. Like, you're really just gonna go home right now? I'm like, you know what? Fine, I'll hang out, whatever. So I was just the personal camera guy for an Australian team. And we have a video up. We call it the Alex Jones Odyssey. And it's a pretty great video, but yeah, if you look up Evike's video from that day, Robo had a BB come straight through a window. That was my buddy Jake who shot through the window. He was totally shooting hot that day, and Robo freaked the fuck out. But they cut that out. I was pretty bummed about that.
I mean, I can understand though. Like I know Robo, and he's usually a pretty level-headed dude. So if he freaked out, it was probably like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like it shot clean through a glass pane. Like right in his face.
Was he shooting biovalves or something? What the fuck?
No, it was just a regular Elite Force 3.2, but his gun was shooting stupid hot, so it just went clean through the window pane.
Good lord.
Oh my god. So Inept Tactics, who I will never refer to as that again. I'm only doing it to be polite. Tactical Snoopy. Snoopy says, Evike needs to hire me. I'm a certified simp. Then he said, shut your mouth. I can only speak via donations.
I'd say hit the donate button, but I'm not going to say any of that. So, sorry.
Hit that donate button and support our alcoholism.
Exactly.
Support
Please.
You know what I used to do, and I need to go back to doing this, is when people would order patches, I printed out this note. And this note that I printed out literally said, thank you for your support of the channel and for ordering our patch. All proceeds will go directly into feeding our alcoholism. Praise Judy.
Eric, you sent me those patches. You sent me those patches when I was in Iraq, and it was literally just a picture of Judy kicking in the door and ISIS being like, "Good night, no."
Oh yeah. Yeah, I turned the "No Daddy No" meme into Judy kicking in a door, and then the ISIS flag was like, "No, Judy, no!" when I sent this to you in Iraq.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good time. By the way, if you ever see a Judy patch and a random reference photo of Delta or something like that, I can confirm there is somebody in CAG that has a Judy patch.
So that is kit correct then?
That is kit correct, yes.
The Judy patch is kit correct for CAG.
I mean,
because we have confirmation. Oh my god. There was one the One Legion guys, One Legion Superfly ordered one, and One Legion Superfly ordered a patch, and I just photoshopped Judy's head onto a photo of him, and I just sent that to him with his patch.
Oh Jesus! Thank you, Snoopy.
Damn,
Snoopy sent $10 and said, "Who is this guy? I'd let him use me as a dinner table."
God.
Oh god,
that's hot.
That is pretty hot. I'm sorry, but I'm happily engaged, and I got a baby girl, so sorry, Snoopy.
That doesn't mean you can't use him as a dinner table.
Yeah, like that doesn't have to be sexual. You made it sexual.
Yeah. That's only giving us insight on what's going on in your mind.
It's the internet. It's the internet. You automatically assume it's sexual. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it is Snoopy, so it should be sexual.
I mean, he probably will be naked, so.
Oh my God. Brian Yeager just said $20 and said praise Judy.
Thank you for the money, guys. I'm gonna
Thank
use it for
you.
later.
This will buy us a lot of alcohol.
Or you get
I finished my drink. This is a good amount of whiskey.
Yeah,
Oh my
Eric, just
God.
chug it. Eric, slam it back.
All right, all these donations, I gotta chug it.
Oh,
Fuck.
jeez.
Hold on, I gotta
That's
play the
good whiskey,
donation sound through. Oh my God, God, Snoopy, the money. Stop.
another one, Eric. He's paying for it.
Now you can buy all the vape juice.
Dude, I can buy all of the vape juice. Hell yeah, I'm so excited.
You gotta vape those niches.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brian. I will. I don't have any more airsofting, Jimmy. I finished the bottle.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I started this night with like maybe up to here of this, and it is gone. So
Very nice. I need to.
yeah.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Dude, fucking rip Camp Shelby though. I miss Camp Shelby.
I know. I never got the opportunity to play there.
Really? Oh, that sucks, dude. We need to play together. Like, I feel like we've been talking in the Discord forever and like in the discussion group, but we've never actually played together.
No, the furthest east I've ever actually played Airsoft was for DFE at the Rock. It was like something Midwest, but I played. That's actually where I met David Lee for the first time, so that was fun.
I love David.
Yeah, I gotta kick it with Alphonse. I actually got to meet him the first time he came out to California, before he actually before his channel blew up. And I think that's where his channel just like went from here to like there. Like he had that sniper battle with Dayton at Georgia Air Force Base, and his channel blew up.
Well, because I remember I kicked it with Alphonse at the DFE game at Shelby in 2018, and he was big, like big-ish. I think he was hitting like 50,000 subs or something like that at the time.
Yeah.
And he was doing obviously pretty fucking well for himself, better than we're doing. And but we just went to Buffalo Wild Wings with him and like some of the fucking Grom dudes we knew, like some of the other dudes who were at that game, and we just like went to a Buffalo Wild Wings and hung out. It was fucking great. And then his channel blew up like 6 months later. I'm like, oh, cool, good for you, man. I'm a little jealous.
Not good for.
No, yeah,
I mean,
like,
he's been killing it,
came out
man.
to California, I think he had like 15,000 subs when he first came out to California. He came with Greg, and we did a tactical gearheads for the upcoming DFE, and we kind of chit chat a little bit. He was a really nice guy, so it's like, why am I going to be a douche to him? But yeah, he's at 232 right now. I don't know if y'all can see that.
Dude,
Alphonse
is a good dude. I really like Alphonse. If anyone deserves the success they've gotten, it's Alphonse. I know there's some people who take issue with like some of his memes and stuff, but like if you actually know the dude as a person, it all comes together.
Yeah,
Pretty nice guy, all around decent human being.
Yeah. No, his videos are just Oh, go ahead.
like all of his videos have always been memed like that, so I don't know why people have a problem with it. Like if you go back to the beginning, that's where he's been.
Yeah. He created it.
All I'm gonna say is I know some people take offense. I don't agree with those people. That's all I'm gonna say. Based on all of the context I know, I don't agree. Wow. What else do we got that's gonna be a really good topic?
Yeah, I probably should have done some actual some preparations for this one.
Yeah, we should have prepped for this, but like to give the viewers a little insight into the process in this whole podcast of having Mike on was born of Mike messaging me and being like, yo, dude, how do I get on the podcast? And I'm like, you did it. Let's go. Let's do it.
You're on, dog. You're the next guest next week. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, box flood with people wanting to be on the podcast now.
Oh yeah, no. Other people are gonna inbox me, but like those other people haven't been talking to me for like a year, so those other people can fuck off.
Snoopy, what the fuck?
Oh my god.
Hey, Ian, you should check your Discord DMs.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, so Broadwing. By the way, shout out to Broadwing. He's actually another channel based in the Northeast. He uploads a lot of gameplay from that GZA field we were talking about.
Yeah.
So Broadwing is in the chat right now. Click on his channel, see if it's something you like. He's a good dude. I've played with him a lot. Definitely check out his content.
Mike, how do you feel about High Ground Airsoft?
High Ground is a very, very interesting story. And being that they're still affiliated with Evike, there's very limited amounts of things I could talk about. But so basically, when GI opened up GI Tactical at D14, I think that was the first time a major retailer had attached themselves to a field. And it was a fantastic idea. It did really well. And they bring in more money on Saturday and Sunday than their other their other 3 stores combined. Like, it was crazy how much they were making at that field. So great idea. And I'm like, hey, why don't we expand this out to another field? So it's like, okay, what should we do? So we started talking to the fields that are local to the stores, and they get in contact with High Ground because they were still independent at the time. They had a small pro shop. It was nothing major. So they contact them, and they're like, hey, this is what we did at D14. It was really successful. We want to keep expanding the idea. What do you think? I'm like, yeah, that's a really cool idea. Let's do it. So we pack up a bunch of shit, take it down there, get all set up, all ready to go. GI Tactical High Ground is operating in force. I think actually it was GI Tactical over Houston, excuse me. But they're operating in full, and they're there. And Walter, the guy from GI, wanted them in meetings so they know what's going on, how SOP works. If their guys want to be trained or anything like that, they can take care of it there. And they had these trainings like at like 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning. But in Texas, it's like 11 a.m. on Saturday morning when your field's super fucking busy. So to dedicate like 90% of your workforce to being in a meeting on a Saturday morning when it's the busiest, no, not going to fucking happen. So they butted heads a lot. And he finally said, like, you know what? I didn't sign any official paperwork. Get the fuck out of my store. And took the idea, called up a certain person. And next thing you know, Evike is opening up an outpost at High Ground. So basically same exact idea, but he couldn't quite work well with a certain someone from GI. So comes in Evike, they kill it with the idea, and like, hey, this is a great idea. I'm gonna do this over here. So then they opened it up at GamePod up in the Bay Area, and then we got another one in Ontario. Like, it's like 30 minutes away from the main warehouse in Evike, and now they're just trying to expand all over the country, which is absolutely insane. I know that they're opening up another superstore in Dallas, which is not going to be good for a certain airsoft store that's branched from another chain over in I don't even know the exact city, but they're just north of Dallas. But yeah, that's kind of what happened with High Ground, and that was a really fun scenario.
Okay, so
Nice.
someone asked
retailer drama can get very spicy. I've heard plenty of stories.
That's the biggest piece of drama I've ever been involved with, being in a retailer. And it was pretty weird going from being the one getting cucked to being the one cucking.
Doing the cock, yes.
Exactly. So yeah, that was an interesting transition there.
Someone asked in chat about real steel attachments on airsoft guns, and I guess you could just translate that to real equipment as well.
Yeah, just real equipment and airsoft, or
I mean,
go
ahead.
I personally mostly use what you would call like real steel ready stuff. Like, granted, I use like poor quality stuff in terms of I use Bushnell and Primary Arms and Red Dots for all my airsoft guns.
They both do all right. Yeah, they're both
for
fine.
Airsoft, it's whatever. For my real firearms, I want a little bit of a higher standard of performance. Yeah. But I will absolutely never buy a clone laser. I have a Class 1 plus. Is it Class 1 or Class 1 plus? I forget. I think it's Class 1. A Class 1 Steiner D-Ball I2 on my Crytac, and that I transfer between all my guns for night vision use because eye safety.
Yeah.
But free LASIK though. Come on. Like we are in the business of giving free LASIK. This is a charity organization.
I'm not a free LASIK dude. I'm not about to have people sit in my sympathy chair for free LASIK.
You mean you don't like GMP D-ball knockoffs?
Absolutely not.
If you can afford night vision, you can afford an eye safe laser. Laser Max makes them for $100. You fucking poor.
If you're running dual tubes, but you're running a G&P D-ball or PEC 15, you're fucking poor and you can't convince me otherwise.
No airsofting, Jimmy. I do not have a D-ball from G&P. I have a Steiner D-ball.
I do. I have the G&P one.
You fucking poor.
Yeah, fucking poor. So, I don't know. It's one of those things where, like, I personally refuse to use non-eye safe lasers because I hope other people would extend me that same courtesy.
Even though I know they won't.
Yeah. HoloSun makes some good eye-safe lasers too. I personally use mostly real equipment though. In terms of optics, granted it's like Bushnell and primary arms for airsoft use, but they're still real steel optics. I use a lot of Viking Tactics slings. The Proctor sling, by the way, is the next thing I'm looking at getting. That looks really cool.
I like the clean one you let me use when we were at fucking Zulu 24.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Mike?
Way the gunsling is the way. But yeah, like when it comes to airsoft accessories, the only one I really put on my guns, and it's just for looks, is a battery box. Like if I want a PEC 15, but I don't want to drop $1,500 for a Mark 18 look, I'll buy a $15 battery box just for the look. But when it comes to that, I'll do the same thing. I'll do like primary arms, Bushnell, HoloSun for optic, or I'll even do like a Surefire. I'll move my my M600 off my AR and put it onto my gun for when I go indoors. Just because like I know the lens is going to stand up to it. It's bright as fuck. Why not?
Yeah, I use Streamlight lights for a lot of stuff because like I'm not gonna say Streamlight is as good or better than Surefire. Surefire has a track record that's absurd, but for BB Wars use, Streamlight is more than fucking adequate.
Oh yeah. I mean, I use the like first generation like EOTech 512. It's like their current production of it, and that's more than fine as far as optics go. I just like the EOTech reticle, and I refuse to use Airsoft EOTechs because they're all fucking garbage. Like, there's not a good Airsoft EOTech.
That's surprising, too, because it's like, Airsoft companies can make a decent T1, but they can't make a decent EOTech. Like, what the fuck are they doing?
I don't know, dude, but like it's not even an issue with the actual reticle itself. It's always an issue with the glass being blue tinted as fuck.
Yep.
But I'll use the same D-ball I2 Eric has, except I just have two lasers. I've got a red one, and I've got a...
I have the Illuminator IR laser model. You have the dual laser model.
Yeah, I'm planning on getting for my Scout Light, my M600, getting the IR Illuminator bulb that's also white light as well. But the only time that I actually use like airsoft accessories on my guns is gonna be like maybe like a foregrip, and then the stock, and that's literally just the PTS EPS stock because the enhanced polymer stock is fucking awesome, and I would use it on real firearms as well.
Yeah, dude.
Little industry insider information here, by the way. Most of the PTS crew runs PTS accessories on their real firearms. So, like, they're not made to a lower standard of manufacture. They're just marketed toward airsoft and made of non-ITAR materials.
Exactly. No, the PTS stuff is great. I love their stock just for the battery space alone because I can fit fucking anything in the EPS stock. And same thing with, their foregrips and whatnot. They make some great stuff there, too.
I actually have a funny story related to a comment in the chat. Mongo376 apparently gets tons of Olight ads on our content. And Mongo, Olight has actually emailed us asking us to do product reviews for them on our channel. I don't like Olight. I hate the I hate the stupid user interface, the gimmicky bullshit they do to overcomplicate the act of having a fucking flashlight pisses me off.
Wait, can you explain this more? Because I don't understand. What do you mean the user interface? Because I thought it was just like a magnetic plug-and-play.
Yeah, I fucking hate that. It's overcomplicated and stupid.
Why is that overcomplicated?
Because and here's the thing. Every Olight flashlight has a million fucking functions and has a million things they want you to program in. I don't want that on a weapon light. I want to hit a button and have the brightest possible setting come out every time. I don't want to have to cycle through modes, set preferences, and deal with proprietary charging bullshit. I want it to run on CR123s so I can easily replace it in the field, and I want to have one fucking function, maybe two functions if I'm feeling sexy and I want to cycle to a strobe. I don't like Olight because they seem to want to feature creep way too fucking much, and it pisses me off. It actually makes me not want to buy the light when it has that many features. It's stupid and unnecessary.
If you're
So
running
I've never responded to any of their emails because my response would be, "Do you make something that's not stupid?"
Yeah. Well, so the only thing that you're going to need for as far as a light goes is maybe a strobe mode and then just a bright ass fucking light. Like, don't need to go too complicated into it. I'm adding a little bit of more usability on my fucking M600 with the vampire head because it gives me an IR fucking illuminator as well. But that's just because I use nods. Like, all you need is a fucking light. Going over complicated with it is stupid.
Just take the money in and do a shitty review.
But they don't even offer you money. They just want to send it to you and have you do the review, which like I used to. I'm going to talk about content creation here for a minute. I used to take every opportunity that people would send and be like, "Hey, you know, let's send you this thing and have you do a review of it. You could do a review on your channel." I don't accept most of those offers anymore because I don't give a shit about your Amazon tactical vest. I don't give a shit about your clone iPro that doesn't even have ANSI rating. I don't need your product to boost the views on my channel. Like, I don't need to be doing reviews all the time of products I don't give a shit about. That's just going to result in me making content I obviously don't give a shit about, and people seeing that and being like, "Oh, well, GunGamers sold out and he doesn't give a shit anymore." Yeah, I don't want that. You don't want that. They want that because they want me to do that.
I had someone contact me sometime, I think it was like early last year, asking me to do a review of some, it's like basically like a clone of the ESS, like NVG goggles. And I asked him, like, "Hey, is there an answer?" I'm pretty sure it's the same dude that's been marketing on the fucking, like, GunGamers discussion group in US.
I'm going to fucking, no. I'm going to fucking call him out. Yuan Tony or Yen Tony, whatever, how the fuck you're supposed to pronounce his name. Dude. This motherfucker is in every US-based Airsoft group. He's an Amazon seller. He's a drop shipper. And what he does is he sends people the money to buy his products. They'll buy his products at no cost to them. And then those people will leave positive Amazon reviews on his products because they're thirsty airsofters who got his garbage bullshit for free. And that boosts his seller ranking and helps him sell product. Until very recently, he was selling non-ANSI certified eye protection, which basically means it's not eye protection. It's fucking snowboard goggles, and you have no idea what it's going to stop.
Yeah.
And it took me bullying an admin of an American Airsoft group to get him to talk to Yuan Tony to get him to allegedly drop that eye protection. But no, like, that is against the Amazon terms of service, by the way. Accepting free products for positive Amazon reviews, totally against the terms of service. But yeah, fuck that guy. And he can message me butthurt all he fucking wants. Fuck that guy.
Can I ship you this Carbon Cakes Surefire to review?
Yes, please. I would love a carbon
Please,
cake.
reviews.
Fucking 952.
Speaking
Absolutely.
of
No, I mean, that oh god, that is infuriating because like I actually talked to the dude. I'm like, "Listen, is this ANSI rated?" And he's like, "No, but it will stand up to." I'm like, "If it doesn't have the fucking ANSI stamping or a MilPerf stamping on the fucking lens, I don't want it, dude." Like, not to mention the fact that he sent me them and they're fucking uncomfortable. Not worth wearing. Don't get it.
Well, you know, you get to save a lot of money on LSD because, you know, now the whole world is blurry just from wearing his goggles.
Oh, yeah. By the way, anybody who wants an actual review on those goggles, don't buy them. They're not comfortable and they're not going to stop any BBs. Review over.
Yeah, no, fuck that guy. I don't like him. I don't like his bullshit. I don't like his bullshit business practices. I don't like he sold uncertified eye protection. Fuck that guy.
Yep. Any good BB recommendations? Elite Force, G&G, anything made by BLS. It's fine.
If it comes out of the BLS factory, it's good. And spoiler warning, that's 90% of Airsoft BBs.
Yeah.
There's
Everything's basically repackaged.
There's a
BLS.
website that's that popped up recently called 6mm plastic, 6mm ammo, something like that. And I'm actually interested to try their products because they've got .4s for like a really good price. I want to say it's like 1,000 or like 1,100 for like $11 or something like that. So I'd very much like to try those, but I can't review those yet because I've never actually tried them.
It's kind of cheap.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cheap, so I'll give it a shot.
All right.
For all I know, they're
I'm
rock
actually
quality.
thinking I'm getting to my point where I'm probably going to head off here just to hang out with my brothers. So if anyone's got any last minute burning questions for me before I hop off, I'll let you guys take it from here.
Yeah.
For sure, Dag.
Yeah, totally. If anybody has any questions in the chat, feel free to hit us up, and I'm going to switch to the 3-man mode. Eric, it's good talking to you.
We're talking to you guys too. Hell yeah.
All right, peace, dude.
Peace.
Cool.
Okay.
What
Oh,
about
Jesus.
the microplastics EF is using?
Well, we're just gonna go back to that. Use Eric's. There we go. Okay, so I use 6mm .2 for target transition training. That's fine. I don't use airsoft stuff for training because it doesn't actually replicate any of the functions of actual firearms. I don't like it.
This always comes up too.
Yeah.
I used to do that with like a 1911, and then I bought a Glock 17, and Glock 17 airsoft guns don't fit into the Glock 17 holsters, so that's kind of fucking pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah, my Glock 19 holster sort of fits into my Glock 19 like real steel holster, but I mean it's all wobbly and weird and like doesn't fit too correctly. But I hate the whole notion of using airsoft for real steel training. It just really bothers me. Not to throw the buddy Caber under the bus, but he's always posting about this stuff, and it just frickin' annoys the hell out of me.
Well, it makes sense why, honestly. I mean, it's not. It's just more what it's worth. But yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, you know, hey, it's something that very well replicates the form factor of the actual handgun. But if you're gonna train with or for firearm usage, train with the actual firearms. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the only thing I can really see airsoft doing is good dry fire training, but just, it's like it's not hard.
Well, so one thing I will say is that there was a T-Rex Arms, and while I don't exactly agree with a lot of the stuff T-Rex Arms says, there was a video that T-Rex Arms did a couple of months ago with a kid named Liru or something like that. And
Liku Tactical, I remember that video.
yeah, and kid fucking was shredding the second he ended up figuring out the actual recoil patterns of ARs and Glocks. He was just absolutely shredding targets. But I mean, you know, that kid has more dry fire training than any of us do. No matter how much time you spend in your basement dry firing your fucking TMMWS.
Absolutely. But I know someone who was on that shoot that day, and it wasn't just the recoil pattern he had to get down. He also had to get down the trigger pull because he gotten so used to airsoft triggers that they're nowhere near close to like a mil-spec AR or a Geisley trigger.
Even a Geisley trigger at 3.5 pounds is still miles heavier than any gas blowback trigger.
Exactly. So once he got used to the new trigger, though, like it didn't like take off after the first 100 rounds. He said that he got through like 3, maybe 4,000, like no, not 3-4,000. He got 2-3 hours into the shoot before he started getting comfortable with everything. But obviously that gets that down to a smaller video. But yeah, like, you know, airsoft is good for dry fire, but if you can dry fire with a real firearm, just do it with a real firearm. That's what you're getting used to.
Exactly. I mean, airsoft guns, while they look cool. Thank you for the follow, Jeff OC. Kaylee, that no soundbite is playing right now. But
Oh, I like it.
yeah.
No.
That's your guys' thing. I'm not going to interrupt that.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, airsoft guns do a phenomenal job of actually recreating the externals of firearms, but for the most part, you're better off using a real gun. Let's just say that. And then if you live in a banned state, use whatever you're going to use for home defense or, you know,
I mean, like,
whatever your purposes for firearms are.
Good for manipulation, yes, but it's like, I don't know, man. The manipulation of the airsoft Glock versus like a real Glock, it doesn't feel the same at all. Like, even racking the slide, like the first time I racked like a real gun slide, I was like, this is so hard. And the guy in the store was like, you just need to like, you know, take, you know, because he was making me do the understand how to manipulate the firearm like in the store before he could sell it to me. Yeah. And he had like snap caps in the gun. He's like, yeah, so just cock the, you know, pistol and take the, you know, take the snap cap out, let it like eject. And I was just like, struggling so hard to pull the thing back. It was so embarrassing. But yeah, dude, I don't really feel like it's the same to manipulate. Even like just maybe holding it is sort of similar, but yeah, everything else is completely different. Like even if it's the same like mechanics, it's much more difficult. Stiffer spring, everything.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't even say holding it, especially when it comes to like a Glock or any other polymer frame pistol. Those steel slides are so much heavier on real firearms than they are even on the airsoft ones. Like the Elite Force Glock, it's a nice pistol, but it's still a pop metal. It's nowhere near as heavy as a slide. Like fully loaded mag, on a real Glock is significantly heavier than an airsoft one.
Yeah, and then you start adding anything to a real Glock and like real optics, compensator or whatever, and it just gets insane. Like you're trying to worry about like, okay, is my gun like balanced correctly? Like how is this going to affect recoil? Like you don't really have to think about that when you're, attaching things onto airsoft. And if you had those things already on your gun, like you probably wouldn't think about how they would translate to a real gun. So, yeah.
Oh boy, it's Dan.
Dan
Yeah,
jumping
I'm
in
here.
here.
No,
Okay.
I wanted to chime in because since you guys are talking about this, I almost wanted to disagree. The first time I ever used real firearms, the only reason that I had any semblance of knowledge of what I was doing was from Airsoft. And my brother and I both surprised and kind of impressed the guy at the range that we both knew what we were picking up and knew how to operate the firearms without, like, we introduced ourselves to Canadians.
Is that
He figured we
solely
were idiots.
from Airsoft, or do you don't think that pulls from any like interactions with video games or movies or any of the other like amounts of things that you're exposed to?
I mean, you could argue maybe video games, but at the same time, like video games aren't teaching me. Like, I mean, Call of Duty, you point your firearm, like you're flagging your teammates left and right? Like it doesn't really teach you to where to point a firearm, what to do with a firearm, like safely. Where
Don't flag me in Airsoft, bro.
don't do that. Don't fucking shoot me in the ass. But it was, again, like the guy, like we walked in, we told him who we were, like where we were from. We were in New Hampshire. We want to shoot some guns. The guy's like, okay. And he gave me, I grabbed an MP5 ST. It was one of the ones I picked. And he's like,
Great
okay.
choice.
Oh, it was a fucking phenomenal choice. But he's like, where do you, hold it? And he's beginning to teach me the basic functions of it. And I mean, I'm not trying to skip ahead of him to show off or any of that stupid shit, but he could figure out that my brother and I were fairly comfortable with everything, literally everything we picked off the shelves. And it got to the point where I think my brother and I went through 6 or 7 rifles and almost as many handguns. And like, I think by he showed us like the MP5, and I think I'd picked a 1911. And after that, he's like, all right, you guys know what you're doing. Just come back in every time you want to grab some new shit and do that. Like,
you guys are pros. You might as well just own your own gun store.
Yeah, basically. Yep. It was like, again, just I think video games helped with the like immediate recognition of like what was on the wall, but like Airsoft actually helped with how to properly hold and kind of shoulder a firearm. And recoil is obviously an issue, but I mean, it helps. My brother and I are ogres, so we didn't really feel it.
Fucking refrigerator of a human being, yeah.
Dude, we had a UMP 45 with the stock folded, shooting it one-handed, hitting the target. Fucking hilarious. We're like, why does the Vector even exist? Who cares? Fuck 45 ACP's nothing, man. But I think it did help. It definitely helped.
Okay, fair point.
The Vector is okay as a submachine gun for like police usage, but if we're talking like military usage, it doesn't make any sense if you ask me.
No, it was just a recoil mitigation.
Oh yeah.
I mean, did you find it full auto or was it semi?
Full auto.
Okay.
He said try to keep it to 3-round bursts, but he's like, I'm not gonna stop you if you don't. So any weapon that had a burst option, we were not allowed to go to full auto. But anything that was only safe semi-full auto, we could just go to full auto and try to, control ourselves.
Yeah.
That's cool. I've been to one full auto like gun store in Nevada, or actually just in Vegas, and that was like, I think I was like 11 or 12, and Modern Warfare 2 just came out. My go-to gun on that was the M4 because I was a fucking noob. I didn't get the ACR yet.
Yeah.
And I bagged up two mags of that, and that was a shit ton of fun. And then I was actually just in Nevada last week doing some work out there. And the guy I was working with was like, hey, man, you want to go shooting? It's still pretty early. Like, fuck yeah, let's go shooting. So we got to the desert, and he has this super nice 11.5 AR that he's built out completely. And he has Geisley, like 3-pound trigger on it. And I bump fired the fuck out of that, dude. It was pretty great. I think I sent a video to Discord. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My brother actually went to a range before I did. And same thing in New Hampshire, different range. And the video is somewhere on his Facebook, and I thought it was hilarious. It was the first time he shot an AK. and he's got it shouldered, and I guess a fly landed on the receiver, like between the front and rear sights, and like my brother just kind of like lifts his head up and goes, and then goes down, like blows the fly away, and the guy just starts laughing. He's like, I've never seen anybody do that. Like everybody immediately takes their hands off the gun if something like that happens. He's like, you kept the gun pointed away from everything and just blew the fly off, and it looked so badass. And
Nice.
then he went to shooting the thing.
No, I don't know. I love full auto firearms. If we're getting into shooting fucking guns with giggle switches, I mean, the best example I have is shouldering a fucking 249 and just dumping 200 rounds through the thing. And it's such a good time. Oh, there's so much.
That would be fun. That would be cool.
It didn't break.
No, surprisingly, if you take care of a 249, it won't. People hate the saw because they don't take care of the saw. If you're talking about like a fucking full auto gun range saw where it's like seen like 100,000 rounds go through it by people who have never used a fucking saw before, sure. But if we're talking like, I don't know, an M or a 249 that's out of somebody's, fucking personal collection, and you get to dump 200 rounds, or if it's a military one that's actually been taken care of, awesome guns. Fucking love the saw.
Wait, you were in the military. What branch were you in?
I'm Army.
Okay, that's why they're working. Because all the people that talk about 249s that complain about them are Marines, and they don't take care of their shit. So that makes sense.
They keep breaking their fucking shit, and it's infuriating because the saw's a wonderful weapon, and now they're trying to replace it with a stupid IAR. The IAR is a great infantry rifle, but it's not a fucking machine gun. I don't want to hear it. People are wrong.
They're being
stupid.
Man, of course it's an LMG.
Dude, they're doing the same thing that airsofters do when they show up to like a fucking like an event, and they're like, yeah, dude, I've got this drum mag on my M4 and I got a bipod as well. Dude, I'm ready for this to be a machine gun, and I'm gonna throw a fucking 3x9 optic on top of it, and it becomes a sniper rifle. Like, no, you're stupid.
Let there be a special snowflake in the real world.
DMR. That was probably one of the most annoying things at a field. It's like, oh, check out my DMR. It's just a fucking short-barreled combat machine with a 3-9 on it.
Kids try. That's, it's a thought that counts.
It does.
If they're like 10 or 11, I won't give them shit for it. But if they're like 20-something years old and they're rocking a 3-9, I just make fun of them. Like,
that's fair.
Do you not have a job?
Yeah.
Most of them don't.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's getting to that time of the podcast. If anyone has any questions in chat, I will gladly continue to answer them in the most ranty way possible.
The chat is just mostly debating now, like Airsoft and Real Steel and all that.
Yeah, you started us down a rabbit hole now.
Airsoft is for Airsoft, Real Steel is for Real Steel. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
Yeah. One is for fucking self-defense and, fun, and the other is to shoot your friends and not go to jail.
Yeah. One's work and one is play.
I like Jeff Smith's comment here. I play Airsoft. I shoot Real Steel to practice life and liberty. I'm afraid to drop my AG mags on the ground. That's so true.
You haven't seen Canadian fucking AR mags. They're
for the entire YouTube comment section. Do you guys actually drop your mags? Because when I was rocking a regular AEG, I would fling the shit out of my mags. Like every time we did a video in the store, you would see me mag flipping that shit as hard as I could into the ground.
I don't mag flip. I just drop it because like I've got P mags that drop free on my Mark 18. And the only reason I do is because they seem to be made out of like a half decent plastic, and even if they do break, I can get 5 of them for like $40 from Power 6. So
I re-index all my mags. Fuck that shit.
I do have Kydex fucking like mag pouches, but I re-index after I've either gotten shot or the thread is gone.
And I also, because I use a lot of TM guns, I try to keep the mags in one piece.
Your recoil shocks that Kaylee hates?
Yeah, because it sucks so much.
Can we address that comment in the chat? Why does the recoil shock suck so much? Can we please get
a... are the best platform in Airsoft, period.
Yes,
no contest.
Right there. See, look at that. The words of the fucking...
They should be banned from Airsoft for sucking so hard.
Oh my fucking god.
All right, listen, Miss SEMA AK-74.
Yeah.
Hey man, the SEMA is tried and true, dude. That gun will go forever, and it costs significantly less than a stupid recoil shock. So,
if you say it's good enough, it's probably not good enough.
Yeah.
I've used it, so
the SEMA AKs are the Palmetto State Armory of fucking airsoft guns.
Yes, they are. Thank you.
No. They're the 1911 of airsoft, dude.
So
They never
pieces
quit.
of garbage that everybody said won 2 world wars, but in fact it didn't. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I thought the high cap was the 1911
Yeah.
airsoft.
Yeah.
No,
I
the high kappa is like I don't know. It's just like the generic race gun of.
It's
Okay,
fucking-
what high cap are we talking about though? Are we talking like no name WeTech or like Double Bell, some of those no name brands? Or are we talking
Like
like
a gold
No,
match
they-
GM.
There's only TM high kappa. All the other high kappas are imitation nonsense garbage.
Yeah,
The
don't
worst-
buy Armor Works or WE expecting them to be good high kappas. Just go for a TM.
I mean,
If you're gonna spend
Armorworks
money.
is just WE, so
Yeah.
With a little
if
bit
you
of
if you
expertise.
shit on WE and then you talk
not-
about how good Armorworks is, you're wrong.
Armor Works is not the same as WE. They're slightly different. They're ever so slightly different. They're made in the same factory, slightly different.
Yeah,
I
well,
promise you.
It's like guitars. There's so many guitars that are made in the same music factory in South Korea, but some of them are objectively better than others, even though they're literally made by the same manufacturer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
One thing I will
it's no
say though
different.
is that while we're shitting on SEMA AKs, they are a great starting gun if you do want an AK. So go ahead and get yourself one of those.
Yeah, if you don't have the budget for something like really cool, like a TM recoil shock, SEMA will do.
dude, my SEMA has worked completely fine for I don't know a year and a half now, and then
Ooh.
it's never quit. And well, other than the fact that I burned out 2 motors on it, but that has
Oh.
nothing to do with
Oh.
the gun. That's all
Oh,
me
now the
burning out
truth comes
motors.
out. Now the truth comes out. I will say that my my M4, like my TM SOTMod M4, is probably the most solid. Like in terms of the receiver, is the most solid thing I own.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's no wall at all on that gun. It's fucking weird.
On the TM?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'm
it's a
sad.
TM, so it's going to be quality. I'm not shitting on the quality. I'm shitting on the gimmicky, ridiculous like price and what you're
Oh, I
paying
don't care
for.
about that shit.
So speaking from the retailer side, you know why TM is so expensive in the US?
Well, like imports and things.
That
Yeah,
and the
'cause
fucking
they're-
licenses as well.
Yeah.
Well, not just that. TM doesn't wholesale to the US. So all the models that came in were bought at retail in Japan and have to be resold for profit. So if TM starts wholesaling to the US, those prices are going to drop just like everything else. But
Yeah.
they refuse to do work outside of Japan
Well,
because
if you
they
look at
don't
like
care about
if you look at like Echigoya, there's a reason why their guns are significantly cheaper than something you'll find on Evike. Not shitting on Evike. You should support Evike because it's an American company. But if you want to get a TM recoil shock, you can definitely get it for cheaper from certain Japanese websites like Echigoya.
Yep.
Or you can go up to Canadian retailer. I found one for like the Scar that I've got. It's like $800.
Jesus Christ.
That oh yeah, it's. I mean, I didn't pay that much less once you start converting the dollar around for mine, but like, fuck, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, a buddy, a mutual friend of me and Kaylee's actually hooked me up with a 416 recoil shock. Yeah, he works at another airsoft store in the area. I'm not going to say who brought that in. Brought in the 416 recoil shock because I don't want them to get shut down.
Yeah,
But,
a certain someone who works at a certain company that you guys hate so much. So
A certain someone that also distributes one company, is a retailer, is another company, and goes off and distributes a bunch of other shit. But we talked about that earlier in the podcast. We're not talking about that.
Fuck. Yeah.
that was then. This is now. Past
Yeah.
is over.
But he hooked it up. It was like $500 for a 416 recoil shock in the
That's pretty
States.
good. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, yeah. Like the cheapest I've ever seen one outside of the States was in the UK. It was like $750, not including shipping.
Yeah.
Or tax,
Wow.
or the risk of getting seized on the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I took
they-
that risk when I got my recoil shock and it made it into the U.S. and I got it for like $450 or something like that.
Because Evike
Including
doesn't
shipping.
have the 416s on site, do they? Or
No,
on the
because they don't have
website.
BHK license.
Yeah. It's just the Mark 18s and Salt Mods and the Scars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all the stuff you're seeing on Evike's website, they actually have a deal with Cybergun to import all of the TM stuff, like legally.
Yeah, gotcha.
So that's a specific deal with Cybergun. That's not like a regular thing in the U.S.
Okay. I mean, I like them. I think they're probably worth the money. I mean, yeah, I guess it's no SEMA AK, but it'll do.
SEMA AK best. I don't know what to say, dude. Shoots like a laser. Freaking works
You
like
know
a
what?
tank.
You know what? I
Yeah.
will say, if SEMA drops a PP19, I probably would buy one.
What the
Just because I had LCT and I sold it,
Yeah.
and I actually made money on it. I was surprised. And I kind of miss having that, and I kind of want another one, but I don't want to spend the money again.
Yeah, they're pretty cool, and the cost is the only reason I haven't picked one up yet.
You
I
can
would
get 'em
get
for
Yeah, they're
pretty
kind
cheap.
of expensive.
You can get them for pretty cheap when a certain manufacturer does dead stock selling at a SHOT Show.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah, you know.
well, so I need to go to SHOT Shows.
Not a certain manufacturer, rather, a certain distributor that's not based in the U.S.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh,
But I haven't had the pleasure of going to SHOT Show yet, so.
we do have a couple of questions coming in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, go
he's
ahead.
asking. I need an honest opinion on building MP5 loader. I have my eye on the VFC, but VFC one. But now with ICS coming out with one, which should you go for? Eric has an ICS one.
I wouldn't do ICS, honestly. I like the MP5, the Elite Force one. Freaking solid as hell, and it's easy to work on, and I've gotten great performance out of it, and just did a quick upgrade on the barrel with the red exploder just past couple of days ago, and now it's freaking shooting laser beams. It's insane. So laser beams, good rate of fire, Avalon gearbox. I mean, then you got the mil spec externals, so you can run like real handguard. The stock is mil spec. Yeah, I mean,
there we go.
It's beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
you can't really go wrong with this.
I really like what Brain's doing with his, where he's getting that like long foregrip to fucking throw a battery in, so he doesn't have to have like a battery box.
Yeah.
We were discussing that when I was there, and we were trying to figure out different stuff, but that's always Mark's problems is trying to figure out where he can finagle a battery where it actually like looks good and it's not some cringy thing where someone just like duct tapes a battery to the side of the gun.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
You know what? I've said this to Mark before, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying it again, but that dude is a god when it comes to DIY and 3D printing. Like, I don't know how he does it, but he'll find a way to shove a battery into a nook and cranny that you never even knew existed on a gun before, and he just somehow does it. Go buy his shit, like brainexplodercreations.com or something like that. Mark, drop your shit in the chat. Like,
Yeah, plug it.
Here, wait. Someone asked if it takes TM mags. This is a TM mag into the gun. There you go.
Honestly, those short mags look a lot better than the 30 rounders, to be honest.
I really like the 30 rounders.
Yeah.
I don't like short
My
mags.
freaking
except for
shit's
the
being
Yeah,
low,
no,
so
I
it's got
prefer the
this wire,
30s,
but yeah.
I think a VFC is going to be my MP5 if I finally get around to buying one.
Yeah.
They just seem solid.
They're great guns.
Honestly, though, I think it would depend on the price point for the ICS. Like, if they have them start making their competition MP5, because I think those are made by SEMA right now, I think I might go with an ICS over the VFC, just because the price point will be so much cheaper. But if it's going to be like a competitor to their VFC at like $300, no, I'd spend the extra $50 to get the VFC. That's me, though.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Mark says short bad.
Short is bad. If anyone has any, how come every AK comes shooting almost 500 FPS out of the box?
To simulate.
Yeah, I feel like that's just SEMA.
Yeah, well, no, LCT does it too.
No, LCT.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Barrel-
Yeah, mine was bad.
Barrel length. And then they don't know how to get a properly ported cylinder. Because most standard AKs are like 455, and then they use a full cylinder for whatever reason, so you're going to immediately get like 430 feet per second out of the box, even with shitty compression. So that's usually what happens.
Mine was. Sorry, go ahead.
My PP19 came out of the box even like 415, and that has like a 6-inch barrel.
Yeah, my AK-74 out of the box was 425. They put an M100 in it, and it still shot like over 400, and then they put an M90 in it, and it shot 300. And there was like the tech that I took it to was so confused because there was no middle ground. It was either over 400 or fucking 300. So I went to Milsim West with a fucking, I think it was technically like 295 or some shit. So I went to MSW with a fucking 295 FPS AK and said, fuck it.
Oh yeah, Mark, just drill a hole in the side of the cylinder. That'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, always best to just drill things in Airsoft and
Cut it in half. It'll be okay.
Yeah, dude. Use duct tape in your gearbox and drill things and
WD-40 on your compression parts.
Yeah.
Been using peanut butter? Is that just me?
What was that?
Peanut butter? No.
No, I don't use peanut. Well, actually, doesn't JG use peanut butter as their gearbox lubricant?
No, that was Javelin, but they're not around anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. Big brain plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you get bears in Airsoft.
So you get bears in Airsoft?
Yeah, man.
2 different types of bears, but yeah.
There was a bear roaming around my fucking hometown today. They had to fucking tranquilize it.
Oh, that sucks.
Fucking thing was booting around doing fucking stupid bear shit.
Okay, here's a big brain question that the internet always likes to ask: who would win a fight, a bear or gorilla?
Oh,
Gorilla. Depends. A brown bear or grizzly bear probably outweighs a gorilla, but a gorilla's smarter and probably more aggressive.
well, if you're asking Joe Rogan, it's gonna be a gorilla. But if you're asking me, I'm thinking a bear, dude. Because a bear is like 1,100 pounds of just anger and blueberries, versus a gorilla, which is just like, I don't know, maybe 350, 400 pounds. And yeah, they're super strong, but that's a
Gorillas
bear,
are also
homie.
smarter than bears, man.
Nah, dude.
Like bears,
They go the bear.
bears, they fucking will roll, accidentally fall down fucking hills all the time. Like you can run down a hill and you can fucking beat a bear? Like that's all the gorilla's got to do. Fucking run down a hill. Bear's fucked.
Yeah.
Like black bears, I'm bigger than a black bear, so it's got to be a brown bear. But like maybe a polar bear. Polar bear could fuck up a gorilla, but
Polar bear.
yeah, I think a grizzly and a gorilla would be pretty close.
Yeah. I don't know. I think a grizzly got it.
Polar bear. Especially because they're almost always hungry.
Oh yeah.
They're constantly running away from melting ice because you people keep on deciding to use non and bio BBs while you're playing Airsoft. You're destroying the environment.
Like a certain BB company that also makes batteries.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if y'all are friends with them, so I'm not going to name drop.
Yeah.
Did they possibly recently have a little bit of a scuffle talking about the problems they're having, or talking about how their BBs were like certified as bio?
I mean, I don't think there's any problem with name dropping them, but
Yeah,
I proudly sport all their BBs and their batteries, and I don't really care what people say. Get in my face.
I'm taking that away from them, but they're like, oh yeah, our BBs are biodegradable certified. And like, Slap test says they're not, that you just released.
Yeah, I mean, that whole fiasco is kind of dumb, but I mean, they still make a good product, so
yeah,
I don't really
absolutely agree.
I don't really like.
Oh, they make great BBs.
Out about
BBs
that.
are fucking awesome.
Yeah, they make very good.
None of them are like truly biodegradable right now, anyways. So like,
there are no biodegradable BBs.
No. So it's
No,
just accept it. Every one of us who plays Airsoft is a fucking piece of shit, and we might as well just all enjoy it together.
Yeah,
exactly. And the thing for me though is like, airsofters are concerned about biodegradability in BBs, and then why are we going putting plastic balls all over the fucking earth? You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's just what I say. It's like, I don't care if they're bio or not.
There's no way for us to high road any of this as Airsofters. Like it is what it is.
Now what you need to do is you need to go get a gel ball blaster. That's the plan.
Yeah, let's
You
get
need to
gel
go to-
blast.
Big
Get some
brain
gel
move, right?
blasters.
Yeah. Just make them out of actual Jello, so they're edible.
There we go.
You don't need them later.
Oh, there you go. Let's
See? This is real life right here. HPA battery.
Oh, there you go.
yeah, but
Oh,
the batteries
shit.
though, those aren't meant to be biodegradable. You just throw those in the ocean when you're done with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like car batteries.
Yeah, exactly.
Charges up all the jellyfish so they can sting you.
Hey, this isn't my podcast, so I don't care.
Yeah.
And plus, Eric's not here to defend it, so that's his fault.
No, Eric and I, we were down in fucking Connecticut with Joe, and we were talking. I don't know how the topic of car batteries came up. Someone was like, "How do you get rid of those?" And Eric and I, on cue, said, "You throw them into the ocean."
That's how jellyfish get their fucking electric stingy powers, man.
Yeah,
Exactly, man.
Fucking charge them up.
Oh man.
Did-
Anyway, if anyone has any last minute questions, feel free to ask them now because I'm probably gonna give it another 5 minutes before I call it.
I mean, there's people weighing in.
Yeah.
So,
The bear versus
does
gorilla.
anybody want to talk about how terrifying jellyfish are? Not
Dude,
the
especially like
jellyfish.
I don't live near an ocean, so I've never had to worry about them. Apparently, there's freshwater jellyfish in the Great Lakes, but like, I've never seen them. So,
dude, I've been in Lake Ontario and on Lake Ontario, and I've never actually had to deal with. I've never seen a jellyfish in fucking Lake Ontario. I've seen plenty of
they're
like
Go ahead.
plastic and runoff.
well, those are like basically the jellyfish.
Did I just lose you guys?
No.
We're
Can you not hear us?
Did we lose?
He's
I think
okay.
we all just
I
lost
cannot
Ian.
hear you. That's very strange. Fuck.
Oh, we
God
lost.
damn it. Oh. Okay, there we go.
Someone's got a question in the chat though. let's see. With the shutdown and the short milsim season, if you could attend only 2 events for the rest of the year, what would your top choices be?
Desolation 3 and Saratov 4.
Yeah,
Or the
Desolation 3
Insurgency.
and fucking Insurgency Saratov. I'm
Yeah.
excited for that. Also, if you go to
Oh,
an
yeah.
Insurgency
Yeah.
event at Saratov, you might just see me working as a member of cadre. Although I'm not going to go too deep into that.
Oh,
That's still in the
big
works.
flex over here.
Yeah, man, you can't just be busting out your big flex before it's even like.
Someone asked how much did I spend
really
on
a flex.
Someone asked how much do you spend on your gaming rig, real steel firearms, and airsoft combined?
Oh my god.
Get out the calculator.
Let's just, dude, let's just say
Hundreds
that's
of thousands.
5 figures at least.
Yeah, like I actually took the time and I added up everything I spent in airsoft over the years,
Yeah.
and it was like 35,000.
Holy fuck! I thought I was bad at around 10.
2009, like 35,000 with everything. But a lot
What
of
the
the
fuck
actual,
did you buy?
a lot of guns. Like I was very indecisive, like around year 4 or 5 of what I wanted to run, and I think I bought like 20 different guns that year, and I upgraded all of them.
Jesus. Oh my god.
But a lot of the gear, like actual tactical gear, translated to real steel. So I still have most of it. But yeah, I'm like 35 grand in just airsoft.
Jesus
The only
Christ.
thing I'm gonna say as far as like my airsoft gear is that pretty much everything that I own, barring a couple of pieces of gear, are interchangeable between like my actual job and airsoft. So that's the only way I justify it. Plus the fact that if I'm working as like a 1099 contractor, I can write it off on my taxes. That's about it though.
Yep. Same.
Hell yeah, man.
Wow. I
Well,
thought
I
I was bad.
can't-
You guys are
I
brutal.
can't write off the guns anymore, but I can still write off tactical gear. You can say I'm going to a not so nice neighborhood for a consultation, and I'm scared for my life, so I bought some tactical gear and some plates, and yeah, I'm gonna write that off this year.
Oh hell yeah, man.
Wow.
Someone's asking, I can't understand why people spend $1,000 aside for who have $1,000 aside for NVGs just for airsoft. I don't
Because
know.
Someone
you
who-
got a flex
Wait,
on the
what?
floors.
Yeah, I mean, like, come on.
Can't
You gotta-
understand what. Yeah.
Dude,
gotta shoot
nods
fours,
nods
basically.
start at $1,000. If you're spending $1,000 on nods, you're getting a fucking PVS 7 or PVS 14 that
You're
fell
me,
off the back of a
basically.
truck as we were driving into Iraq.
Yeah.
That's 1,000 pounds. It's like 1,500 USD.
Still, you're
Yeah,
not
but
getting
that's-
you're not
Still,
getting
yeah,
a new
that's-
PVS
that's a
14
cheap-
for
yeah.
under $1,800.
I will say, Mayor, as somebody who recently. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was gonna say, as somebody who recently started playing around with night vision, like I used them at Saratov 3, like I didn't think I would really want to buy them, and I haven't bought them yet. But like after using them and seeing the advantages when you're playing those big games and those night games, like holy fuck, like night vision is I really it's worth it. Like even when you're up to $3,000-$4,000 or whatever the fuck that goes into, the Great Queen's fucking buckaroos over there, but like it's such an advantage at night. It really is.
Oh yeah. Like I've only gotten the chance to use nods in a game one time. It was at Milsom West out here in California. Buddy of mine who he had a bad day. He twisted his ankle real bad. He's like, I don't want to play anymore. Like I'm done for the night tonight. It was like, all right, cool. Hey, let me borrow your helmet. Let me take those nods out. I was like, yeah, go have fun. I'm like, all right, cool. So I didn't think anything of it. Walking out of the house, it was a little weird trying to get depth perception down. But once you get it, it's night and day, dude. Like literally turns
Literally
night
and day, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he had some Gen 3 White Boss,
Yeah.
and it was PBS 14s. Dude, like,
That's what I used.
after doing that, it's like, I need to get me a set of these. But I just haven't invested into it. And the more I thought about it, like,
Here it
I don't,
comes.
I don't
Gotta
go.
get them dual tubes, brother.
Jesus
There it
Christ.
is. But I don't go to enough night games to justify that kind of purchase. So, like I haven't had the chance to travel out of state for a Milsom West yet. But if I do plan on going, I'll probably just rent. Like I can't justify that kind of money.
Come on out to Saratov Insurgency.
Yeah,
We'll
man.
put you up. We'll touch your butt. It'll be a good time.
Someone is asking, wouldn't IR be better? And I think when he says that, he means he means thermals. Thermals are good for spotting targets in both day and night. The only problem is you can't really maneuver with thermals. You can't really walk
Can't
around
really
with
see
thermals over your
terrain.
face. Yeah, you can't see terrain. So if you
But
want
I-
to use thermals and night vision, that's definitely one of the ways to go. But that's very expensive.
But But I could see NATO in the town walking around from the hilltop with Jim's thermal sight.
Yeah.
I'm so glad he left us that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I actually did regularly attend like 5 or 6 Milsim events a year where I was knowing I was going to play night games, I probably would invest into a set of nods. But only doing it once, maybe twice a year. And now that I just had a baby, I'm not going to be doing Milsim West anytime soon. I can't justify that investment.
No, that makes sense.
Totally.
Like, I'm a single piece of shit with no kids, so really, like, different scenarios, right? Congratulations, lots of sort of in person, by the way, too.
Thank you. No, it's not that my spending habits have stopped. Like, luckily, I'm blessed to be able to provide for them and still be able to have fun with my hobbies. But like, I can't justify something like $3-4 grand on something I'm only going to use once a year.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's different strokes.
It's like I get to use mine a ton. Like, it's crazy, like how much I use mine. So it really justified the very little amount of money I invested into it as a whole, like compared to other people who buy nods. But dude, for like whatever, $1,100, $1,200 that I spent for nods, and I've gotten to use them, I don't know, like 10 times now, like in Airsoft games. It's pretty legit. So yeah, if you don't use them, then it's pretty hard to justify the cost.
I know there are companies that will give you credit if you like rent out a night vision unit. They'll give you like a certain amount of credit towards actually buying that night vision unit.
Yeah.
So like for PVS 14s or 15s or whatever. Yeah.
I know
Go ahead.
I know the company that collabs with Milsim West to do night vision rentals. Like, if you decide you want to buy that unit, they'll sell it to you at a discounted price, and then whatever you pay for rental, they'll put towards the nods.
Yeah.
And then I think
that's cool.
But I don't know all the details on that. That's something you have to talk to them about. But
yeah, I think that's what, Night Vision Inc. or something like that.
I think so.
There were 2, yeah. That's cool. I didn't know that.
I know Steel does it, and I know that Night Vision Inc. does it as well. So, yeah, man. Our PVS 7's good. They're fine.
I'm just gonna flex the old credit card and finance a set when I we all finally get this COVID shit and we can go back to work like normal people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm working, but I'm not working for a whole lot of money, so that's always fun.
When you make too much to get the Trump bucks.
Yeah, well, Canada's done it differently. Like, even though I'm working, I was like, ours is like $2,000 every couple of weeks. So in the last like month, I've gotten $5 grand from the government. But they're the Canadian government's been doing real good. But it's like, I'm along. Go ahead.
Have they?
Well, in this regard, I shouldn't say everything.
Not so much.
Right? Yeah, firearms. I can no longer have Black Rifle Coffee or a fucking go to AR.com. But holy fuck, I sure got.
You can't go to ARFCOM anymore, and you can't buy the Black Rifle Coffee shit. I know you can't buy a fucking the black fucking water airsoft gun.
Fucking Echo 1 airsoft gun. But I'm a long haul truck driver, so our freight rates are affected by things too. So like stuff that I would normally do for say $2,000, I'm now doing for like $1,600. So like I do a run and they keep putting me on the run, and I've gotten to the point where I've bitched about it. I go to Ohio and I go home empty. Well, the run to Ohio only pays $900. Well, my cut of that is less than that. So I'm actually working for, it's like $15 or $20 to go out there, like in my pocket. So it's not really just like, it's not worth it, but that's the way the rates are right now. So it's either that or I sit at home and not make my truck payment, right? So it's rough all around, but hopefully once COVID stops, I can go back to being a piece of shit and spending all my money on stupid stuff.
For real.
Or recoil shocks.
No. Buy more lever actions like me.
Oh,
I'm going to buy a BFC Avalon MP5.
That might be an even dumber investment than a recoil shock.
Wait a minute.
I just spent like $400 on the KTW gas conversion lever.
Oh my God.
I feel bad.
I know you fixed up the one I gave you, but like, what was the outcome of that? Does it still work, or did it fall apart again?
No, it totally works and everything. That was the one I put it up on my Instagram a couple of times with the laser engraving. So yeah, it totally works. It's just been on display because we haven't been able to go play, but now we're planning this big Western thing at Code Red. So
I'm really disappointed that the Red Dead 2 reenactment didn't happen when that game dropped. That would have been a hot video.
That's why I
Yeah.
bought all this stuff and fixed up all the guns and everything and made it like this huge project. But I think we're going to try to do it sort of again because Code Red, I guess, does this thing called the Sheriff of Redemption. And I think
Jesus.
it's sort of like a TTT style game, but we're starting it all back up again. We have like tons of extra guns now. Everyone's getting like leather holsters and hats and all the ridiculous nonsense.
My holsters.
Yeah.
I just felt through. It was like, damn it! I just wasted like 400.
Yeah, well, I know how I felt buying. You gave me that rifle, but then I bought my own, and then I bought a smoke wagon, and I bought a leather holster, and all this nonsense. But hopefully now that I bought this new lever, it really will happen. So
I'm looking at.
It's just gonna be people talking about going to fucking Tahiti for fucking 4 hours. That's all it is.
Need to fucking farm some mangoes down in Tahiti.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
One more question. Somebody asked, what about KWA's new recoil Ronin that just dropped? I've heard good things about the Ronin. I've heard mixed things about KWA's recoil engine as far as the ERG goes. I don't know if you guys have any insight on that.
Honestly, it's the same AG 3.0 that's just put into a Ronin body. Like their 2.5 gearbox is actually not that bad for the price point. For like $240 for basic M4A1, it's actually a pretty good, consistent performer. Their recoil mech, they redesigned it to be a little more similar to the TM, but they put a heavier buffer in there, so it kicks a lot more. And then the cutoff system is a little bit more complex than the TM. I feel like they a little over-engineered it. But overall, it's not a bad gun. And then it's a lot more compatible now that they updated it from the G2 gearbox, or from the 2GX gearbox, excuse me.
All my Canadian guys are buying up fucking KWA AGs like left, right, and center. They're loving the Ronins right now.
Oh, it's just because popular.
The Rona.
For some reason, their KWA is seen as like, at least in my kind of area, KWA is like seen as a really, really good brand. So like everybody's all over it. Yeah, even though Crytek is there. Like even though Crytek is a thing. But I mean, like my LVOA was like $700 Canadian. That's just retail price. Like that's from one of the major Canadian retailers. So I can see why the KWAs, like the Ronins, are going for $455, which sounds expensive, but then with a conversion rate, right? But for some reason, everybody I ran in with these guys, and everyone, the GunGamers seems to have a very different opinion on like KWAs as like my Canadian guys do. Canadian
KWAs
guys fucking
are fine. The only issues you run into is with their ERG stuff. That's about it.
Yeah, which my guys are, like I said, the Canadian guys are buying up left, right, and center.
Like the T6 isn't that bad. Like honestly, when they dropped that and then Sig dropped the MCX, I thought there was going to be a bit of a complication there. And then when they came out the QRF, I definitely thought there was going to be something going on there, but that's nothing even dropped yet. But I will say though, I've been hearing a lot of rumors about Sig Sauer actually dropping a nice MPX finally, but it's just rumors right now. Nothing's been set in stone yet.
I'd really like to see that.
Okay, that would be sick.
That would be a purchase.
Because they already make a Springer version of the NCX, but they don't make a nice one yet. And everyone's asking, like, hey, make a nice one. But they just haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, man. As far as recoil guns go, can't go wrong with TM. I know Bolt pretty much copied, like cloned TM's fucking internals for their BRSS shit, and I've heard mixed things about that. Army Airsoft did the same thing with theirs, and I've heard people saying that they're pretty good, but I'm not going to trust that. But yeah, TM, LCT has their recoil shocks, which are, from everything I've heard, pretty good.
Are they out yet? Have the LCTs dropped yet? Oh, nice.
Yep, it's available right now, but the complete guns aren't out yet.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, this seems to be just hitting 2 hours and a good stopping point. GunGamers Podcast, episode 18. If you want a PVS 14, Lezz is selling hers right now for how many dollars, Lezz?
1,000.
1,000 whole
Holy
dollars.
shit.
If you want a great deal on
A
PVS.
low price.
Low price of 1,000. You can also never use your nods.
Yeah.
I'll give you 1,000 pesos right now.
Yeah.
1,000 pesos right now, live on stream. I'll do the Venmo.
Holy fuck.
I need those pesos, dog.
1,000 pesos is only like
Yeah.
50 cents.
Hell yeah.
That if you want the Judy Hub or Praise Judy Pornhub styled fucking t-shirts, hoodies, anything you could possibly want, there's a link in our community tab that you can go and hit for the Cleared Hot Designs Spreadshirt. Other than that, good podcast. GunGamers podcast episode 18.
Yeah.
It's been real, guys.
Hell yeah.
Audio.
Realest of real.
But it ain't been real fun.
It's been real fun. So, yeah,
Real.
take it easy, everybody.